Y'all ready? Here we go. Let's go. How many know that God will make it all right? No matter what you're going through, no matter what you've been through, He'll make it all right. Listen. When I'm down, can't see my way, I know that all I have to do is pray. He brought me out so many times before. I still believe He'll bring me out once more. Alright,
Alright, He'll make it alright.
alright,
Alright, He'll make it alright.
alright,
Alright, He'll make it alright.
alright.
Alright, He'll make it alright.
Jesus died just to set me free, left His throne above to save a wretch like me. And there's no food on the table, I still believe that my God is able. Alright,
Alright, He'll make it alright.
alright,
Alright, He'll make it alright.
alright,
Alright, He'll make it alright.
alright.
Alright, He'll make it alright.
I've been through the fire, I've been through the rain, had my share of hard times, had my share of pain. I've been up and I've been down, but Jesus is the best friend that I've ever found. Alright,
Alright, He'll make it alright.
alright,
Alright, He'll make it alright.
He'll make it alright.
Alright, He'll make it
Yes, He
alright.
will. Alright,
Alright, He'll
He
make
will
it
make it. He will make it alright. It's alright. Alright. It's alright. Through the storm, through the rain, through your sickness, through your pain. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy is coming in the morning light. Don't you worry, don't you doubt. Know that Jesus will bring you out. Yeah, yeah. He will make it alright, alright. No matter what you're going through, alright. Can't pay your bill, gonna be alright. Pain in your body, gonna be alright. He's worthy of all the praise. My God is worthy of all the praise. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Let's go home. He will make it alright.
Alright, He'll make it alright.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your man Wise, man. Happy Thursday to each and every one of you guys. Friday Eve. What's going on, man? I hope all is well. Good morning to you all. East Coast, Midwest, West Coast, Mountain. How y'all doing this morning? What's up, B? What's up, Zephyr K9? I hope you guys enjoyed just changing it up a little bit. I felt like changing it up this minute, man. I wanted to, start the day off, with a something uplifting. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, man. I hope you guys appreciated that, as well. I love the theme song, I do, but I just decided that today, hey, let's do something just slightly different, man, and just shake things up just a little bit, man. But I appreciate you guys pulling up. We got a lot to talk about, man. We got a lot to talk about. Shout out to all the Blues in the building this morning. Let me know where you're tuning in from this morning. City, state, country. We've had people in here from New Zealand, Australia, obviously all across the country. I appreciate it. I know there's snow down there. It missed us. Excuse me. It missed us. So thank you. Thank you. It missed us up here. We thought that we were going to get somewhere along the lines of 16, 17 inches, and some kind of way, man, it pivoted and missed us up here in Maryland. But hey, I'm sorry for you guys down there in Tennessee and some of these other places, man. They got hit pretty hard with the snow, man. But I appreciate you guys pulling up this morning. Hey, if it's a snow day, you get to just chill in the house and hang out with me. Appreciate you guys pulling up as always. I do ask, hey, the one thing, watch videos all the way through. That's the best way to support the channel. Obviously, hitting the like button, sharing the content, sharing the stream with people that need to see this, that need to hear this type of information. You know, there's a lot of people out there that just will not look at things objectively, without proof. So they need to hear it. You know, sometimes, you know, they'll hear something like this and it may be the first time that they've ever heard something like this before. So, you know, share the stream, hit the like button. If you want to go the extra mile, obviously join the ARP family, or you can buy your man a coffee. Link in the description box below. Super chats will stop the show. Super thanks will stop the show. Just to let everybody know, if you got something to say, you want to add your piece, it will stop the show. Super chat, super thanks. They are greatly appreciated. I appreciate everybody that supports the channel on a day-to-day basis. I do not take it for granted. I'm humbled. I'm thankful. And 100% blessed by the best. You know, God's been really, really good to me, man. He's really been really, really good. You know, what we got going on over here, man, and to an extent, man, is somewhat supernatural, to be honest with you, man. It really is. I want to make sure I give a couple shout outs to people that pulled up in the chat. Scott Young, what's going on, man? First person in the building, one of the first people in the building this morning. Let me see who else. Michelle Bell, shout out to you this morning, sister. We got Dwayne Kaufman in the building. Appreciate you pulling up. As always, Zephyr B. Mark Lynn, what's going on with you, man? Appreciate you pulling up. SW Combat Vet, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hey, Christy, how you doing today, sister? Appreciate you pulling up. Hey, Miss Vicky, how you doing today? Francine Mata, how you doing this morning? Peace and blessings to you and your family. Thank you very much. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Scott Young demanded that you hit the like button. What's going on, Chili Mac? How you doing this morning, brother? Did you guys appreciate the intro this morning? Did you guys appreciate, you know, getting the day started right there? You know, he will make it all right. He will 100% make it all right, man. Man, that was awesome. Special K, what's going on to you? What's going on with you, brother? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. I don't want to butcher your name, but N-A, is it Naya? N-A? Naya, appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you for pulling up today as well. Hey, Carol, how you doing? Frank, appreciate you pulling up. Yeah, man. What's going on, John? How you doing today, sir? My angel, you, appreciate you pulling up this morning out of PA. We got El Paso, Texas in the building. Absolutely. Leroy, what's going on with you, brother? Appreciate you pulling up. Is anybody talking about the EPA yet? It's on my list. I'm not going to talk about it today in the stream, but it is on my list to get to. So be on the lookout for that. We'll definitely be conversing about that in the very, very near future. What's going on, Amber? How you doing today this morning? Bloody Spears 619, appreciate you pulling up as always. Red Beard, what's going on with you? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. OP, make sure I didn't miss anybody. Chili Mac, man, appreciate you as well. All right, Scopio Elite, Brett Davis out of Texas. Gen X Josh out of Asheville, North Carolina. Appreciate you pulling up, man. Is this your first time catching the live stream, or you know, if it's been a while since you've been to one? But I do appreciate you guys as always pulling up. We got a lot to get into, man. So let's get into it. I don't want to waste you guys' time. You know, obviously, you know, there's a lot going on, man. It seems like every day there is something else. But let's get into it, man. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Like I said, super chat, super thanks will stop the show. Let's get into it.
Дивіться, я коли чую, і раніше чув, і сьогодні ми чуємо від Сполучених Штатів Америки, що Америка дала Україні сотні мільярдів, 177, якщо сказати більш точно. Така звучала точна цифра, яку підтримували або голосував Конгрес, тощо різні організації. Дивіться, я як президент воюючої країни вам говорю, ми отримали більше 75. Тобто 100 мільярдів з цих 177 або 200, говорять навіть деякі люди, ми ніколи не отримували. І це важливо. Бо ми говоримо про конкретні речі, бо ми отримали це не грошима, а зброєю. Ми зброю отримали на 70 з чимось мільярдів.
All right, so before we get started, man, shout out to Dragon Master Zero. Appreciate you gifting 5 ARP family memberships, man. Appreciate you, brother, as always. Thank you very much for supporting the channel, man. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. So let's get into it, man. So we've been hemorrhaging cash on Ukraine for a minute. What, 3 years now? 3 years now we've been giving these people money. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was 2022, right? Russia invaded them in 2022. And since then, the U.S. has poured hundreds of billions of dollars into Ukraine. That's taxpayer money. That's your money. That's my money. And where did it all go? Where did it go? I mean, Ukraine's losing ground to Russia. Zelensky's acting like he's entitled to an endless cash train, you know, while our own country, you know what I'm saying, is or at least was falling apart. And the real slap in the face is that Zelensky, he doesn't even seem to want peace talks, because if the war ends, who's going to give him all this money? So naturally, Trump called him out yesterday on X. And shout out to Dragon Master Zero for gifting 5 more ARP family memberships, man. Appreciate you so much, man. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. But Trump called him out yesterday. Let me pull this up on the screen for you guys so you can see it for yourself. Give me a second. So Trump called him out yesterday on X and said basically the U.S. spent $350 billion on a war that couldn't be won. 200 billion more than the Europeans spent. And while Zelensky has admitted that half of the money sent is missing, and the part that broke the media's brain is that, you know, calling Zelensky a dictator for refusing to hold elections. That's what messed him up. And shout out to, thank you, Carol, for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Appreciate the support, man. God bless you. Thank you. Let's keep it going. So Trump called Zelensky a dictator for refusing to hold elections. Now, you know, I'm not saying the war was justified. You know, I don't think any war is, but refusing to hold elections seems to be a bit, you know, authoritarian to me. What are your thoughts on that? Refusing to hold an election. I mean, it sounds like, you know, this dude doesn't want to leave. You know, we held elections during the Civil War right here in America. Shout out to Gerard Caswell. $5 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate the support. And yeah, man, happy birthday, Jeff, man. Happy birthday to you. What's going on, Regina? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. Appreciate you pulling up. But you got to ask yourself, why did they suspend these daggone elections in Ukraine when right here in the United States of America, during the Civil War, we held elections as normal? And of course, Trump doubled down on his comments at a press conference in Miami. We're going to take a quick look at that as well. Gen X Josh says, if you cancel your country's election, draft poor. Where did it go? Okay, there we go. Draft poor and elderly to your military while allowing the rich to buy their way out. You are a dictator. We must stop our support. And I agree with you 1,000%, sir. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Appreciate you. And you're absolutely right. You canceled the election. You drafted the poor and elderly folks, and you allowed wealthy people to buy their way out. Yeah, you're absolutely a dictator. I agree with you 1,000% there. You get no argument from me. None.
But a modestly successful comedian, President Zelenskyy, talked the United States of America into spending $350 billion to go into a war that basically couldn't be won, that never had to start and never would have started if I was president, not even a chance. And it didn't start for 4 years, never would have started. But a war that he, without the U.S. and Trump, will never be able to settle. They'll never settle that war without our involvement. That's why they did such a great job this weekend. That's why Saudi Arabia did such a great job this weekend in hosting. The United States has spent $200 billion more than Europe, and Europe's money is guaranteed. They get their money back. It's a form of a loan. Nobody knows that. I know that. I said, why isn't somebody saying, we do it the same way? And we spent much more money. We have to equalize. But while the United States gets nothing back, so they get their money back. It's a loan. We just give our money. And we had a deal based on rare earth and things, but they broke that deal. But they broke it 2 days ago. We had a deal because I said, we're spending $350 billion, and Europe gets their money back in the form of a loan, and we don't. We're just giving the money hand over fist. That's the Biden administration for you. But they're no longer dealing with the same United States as they were dealing with a few months ago. Why didn't crooked Joe Biden demand equalization, and that this war is far more important to Europe than it is to us, and that there's a very big, beautiful ocean, a separation? This is, we're helping Europe. We're trying to help Europe. On top of this, Zelenskyy admits that half of the money that we sent them is missing. They don't know where the money is. He said, well, we don't know where half of it is. That's great, wonderful. He refuses to have elections. It's low in the real Ukrainian polls. I mean, how can you be high with every city is being demolished? It's hard to be high. Somebody said, oh, no, his polls are good. Give me a break. Every city is being demolished. They look like a demolition site, every single one of them. And the only thing he was really good at was playing Joe Biden like a fiddle. He played him like a fiddle. That's an expression we use, Yasser, to say that he's pretty easy, pretty easy.
Is he wrong, though? Is he wrong? He's been playing us like a fiddle. When we've given hundreds of billions of dollars, and you can say with a straight face, without a care in the world, you don't know where half the money went. Yeah, they've definitely been playing us. Look, if we gave him all this money, shouldn't we have the right to know where it's going and why it's missing? I mean, come on, man. You know he's right when the likes of John Bolton and the corporate press are in meltdown mode right now over these remarks. John Bolton called the remarks shameful. Rachel Maddow is basically having an aneurysm on live TV, saying that she's been warning for years that Trump with, wait for it, Putin, you got to see it for yourself. These people, they are ridiculous. How can you be on the side of a man who took billions of dollars and told you, hey, I don't know where the money went? I have no idea where the money went. This is crazy. This tweet right here from Charlie Kirk, he says, now it's time for Elon and Doge to audit the money we sent to Ukraine. Hold up. Where is that at? Hold up. Give me that. Y'all can see it there. This tweet right here, he says that now it's time for Elon and Doge to audit the money we sent to Ukraine. And Elon tweets back, he responds to him, okay. It needs to happen, man. It needs to happen. This is ridiculous. It really is, man. It's flat out ridiculous. But check out your girl, Rachel Maddow here.
Repeatedly and eerily and in a very out of character way tells the American people he is not allowed to discuss that relationship or his communications with that leader. The political reality of this administration is going to be shaped by whether or not the people who oppose him strongly enough and effectively enough. The political reality of this administration and this presidency will be determined by whether the people who voted for him are horrified enough by what they have wrought that they regret it and are willing to act differently and to speak out about their regret. The reality of this presidency and this administration will be determined in some part by whether or not Republican officials realize that their own survival as politicians depends not on sucking up to Trump, but by helping their constituents survive him. Strong evidence supporting all of those strikes against Trump so far, frankly. But this is one other thing to watch. If we really are now abandoning the free world and lining up instead with the world's dictatorships, and Trump is unwilling to even explain why, just watch. The American people are going to have some feelings about that too. Just watch.
It's not landing, Rachel. It's not. It's not landing at all. I mean, these people have been obsessed with Putin and Russia for at least 8 years. I mean, this whole Russia trope is so tired and worn out. And the fact that they keep going back to it, it just shows you how out of touch with reality these people actually are. And what's funny to me is that many of the same people who decried when the Iraq war, and now they were, just screaming out about the Iraq war, and now they, puff out their chests and play, with the Ukrainian lives and with security like it's a card game. But the good news is that Trump has a plan to put an end to all of this senseless killing. He's got a plan. And he's using Doge to cut waste, expose the corruption, and put America back on top. And they're claiming, Zelenskyy, a money laundering puppet, for the State Department. It's just classic establishment nonsense. And Trump's not going to stand for it anymore. Republicans have even called for Doge to start auditing the aid sent to Ukraine. And to be honest with you, you got to ask yourself, why wasn't that part of the deal when we gave these people this money? Who gives people billions of dollars and don't ask to audit where the money is going? Who does this? Musk responded absolutely that he is 1,000% with it. You seen the tweet that I showed you from Charlie Kirk. He's asking, hey, we need to audit this. And the fact that the people on the left don't want this happening, and they are defending they're defending Zelenskyy, which it makes you think, what makes anybody think that, Zelensky's any better than Putin? Who's responsible for saying one's better than the other? I mean, it is about high time. A lot of heads are going to roll, man. We need an audit over there. And if we find out there's any shenanigans going on with this money, these people need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And Rachel Maddow, and the establishment, they can clap for Zelenskyy. They can clap for this war like trained seals. But Trump and Doge are flipping the script. And to be honest with you, this is something that the Biden-Harris administration should have been held to. They should have been held to the same standard of auditing every dime that goes out to support these people, cutting the fat and exposing the grift, because the American people deserve to know how their resources have been used to perpetuate the latest forever war. Which brings me to the next story I want to talk about. Because, speaking of getting our money's worth, All that cash, Doge is clawing back from USAID, the woke nonsense. There is a laundry list of other swampy waste like $2 million for, sex changes, in Guatemala, and $20 million for Sesame Street in Iraq, $10 million for male circumcisions in Mozambique, 1.5 million for voter confidence in Liberia. The list goes on and on and on. But some of that cash might make it into our own pockets. Some of that cash might make it into our own pockets. You guys got to see this, man. Uh-oh.
Giving taxpayers billions and billions of dollars every single day. And there's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the Doge savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt, because the numbers are incredible, Elon. So many billions of dollars, billions, hundreds of billions. And we're thinking about giving 20% back to the American citizens and 20% down to pay back debt and pay down debt, which is, if you look at value, if it were a real estate balance sheet, the debt is tiny, but we still want to pay it down. Doesn't matter. We don't look at it as a piece of real estate. It's America. We're going to get it down through intelligence, hard work, and, as Elon said, a word called caring. You have to care. By doing this, Americans will tell us where there's waste. They'll be reporting it themselves. They participate in the process of saving money. So many of the men and women in this room, as an example, they pay tremendous amounts of taxes. And here are just a few examples of where your money was going before I came along. These are just some of just taken at random. Oh, there are much worse examples than this. I was just looking at them before the speech, and I can tell you they were much worse. And there are some that are horrible, but I don't want to really say them because they're very, very embarrassing to people. Very, very embarrassing.
Yeah. So cutting the deficit and giving Americans their money back, in my opinion, sounds like a win-win. Carol, I seen you in there in the chat, said it's only the thought price only $5,000, but when you talking about $5,000, going back to how many working class or working Americans we have in this country, that's a large chunk of change, and that was $5,000 that we were not going to get. So if it's $5,000, I'll happily take my $5,000. It sounds like a win-win to me. So Musk is projecting, that he believes that $2 trillion in savings unless all these legal challenges continue to block their work, which could mean that the average taxpayer could get about $5,000 in dividend checks back. I'll take my $5,000. But while $2 trillion's the goal, Musk recently suggested that $1 trillion in savings could be a success because, he knows there's going to be some pushback at every corner. And so far, there's claims out there that an estimated $55 billion in savings have been achieved to date from canceling certain federal leases and contracts and asset sales and fraud deletion and regulatory savings and workforce reductions. So I guess we'll see, if these checks turn into a reality. But at the very least, I, for one, am extremely happy that we're finally working to reduce the deficit. The federal government ran more than $1.8 billion budget deficit in the fiscal year of 2024, and it is expected to grow above $2 trillion annually in the years ahead. Now, some might be asking, isn't this basically a stimulus check? Won't this right here cause some form of inflation? And the short answer is maybe a little, but not like before, because remember, this isn't new money being printed. That's the difference. They're not printing new money. This is just money that's being shifted from wasteful spending back into the hands of taxpayers. So it's a little different. And let's be honest. Do you really think giving Americans back their own money is worse than throwing billions at DEI initiatives in Zimbabwe or paying millions for a transgender opera in Colombia. Because that's where your tax dollars have been going. That's where this money was allocated to. That's where it was going. And Doge is finally cutting off the faucet, man. But this is all, making our friends over on the left, they are upset, to say the least. There's some other choice words that I could probably use, but I don't talk like that. You got activist judges roadblocking Elon and Doge anywhere and everywhere that they can. Scott Jennings over at CNN has been calling them out, basically saying that it's amazing how Trump has to fight in court to be allowed to run the government that he was elected to run. It's amazing, to say the least. But you guys got to see it for yourself, man. Scott Jennings he's holding CNN together, man. He's the only reason to watch that channel over there, for real.
It's a good decision. It's amazing to me that Donald Trump has to go to court to fight off attempts to keep the duly elected president and his appointees from having access to the federal government. I mean, this is, after all, the people that we elected to run the country, and they have to go into court and fight to run the country. I mean, it sounds crazy. So I think it was the only decision she could make, because it's patently ridiculous when Democrat attorneys general go to partisan judges, or any judges for that matter, and try to stop the duly elected government from operating. That's number one. Number two, this effort is nothing more than an attempt to control the federal bureaucracy and restore some political oversight to the federal government. That is all they are trying to do. So ultimately, I think people are happy with it, and I think they're finding some things that need to be uncovered. And the more that they're transparent about that, and the more they put that information out to the American people, the more popular it's going to become. How can you make any other decision than the one that she made? He's the president. These are his appointees going into the federal agencies that they were elected to run. So what does it matter what he said as a matter of a political statement before, as long as the result here is they get to run the federal government just like the people asked for?
Yeah, so activist judges have been routinely untethered from the law. And frankly, it's always a nice surprise when one of them chooses to follow the law than please their political conspirators. I think we're going to see a lot more of this left, corrupt judges being reluctant to put their necks and livelihoods at risk, because frankly, all Doge is doing is pretty popular with the American people. Their approval rating is borderline through the roof right now. So, and it's so popular that even MSDNC, they were forced to do some honest reporting for a change on what some of what some of Doge has found. I mean, it's about daggone time. Give me a second. I want to share this screen. I want to share this with you guys. 1 second.
There was an Inspector General audit last year that showed over an 8-year period, the Social Security Administration made almost $72 billion in improper payments, a little less than 1% of payments in that time period. Now, the report also says that most of these improper payments were overpayments, not payments to deceased people or people who didn't qualify to receive these payments. At the same time, Jose, this effort by Doge is to go through this agency like every other and try to weed out waste and fraud.
Yeah, I mean, and also $72 billion, and that's without a comprehensive search. I mean, that's significant.
There was
That's crazy. $72 billion. $72 billion. Let that sink in, man. Let that sink in for a second. $72 billion in improper payments in Social Security. And they're telling us that the Social Security trust could be defunct come 2030 or 2034, if I'm not mistaken. And if we keep going at the rate that we're going, like, are you kidding me? What's going on, Detroit HPTV? What's going on with you, brother? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. I mean, this is crazy. So yeah, let them cook, man. This is why SCOTUS needs to rule that all this must stop, man. This is why. That these activist judges, they got to step aside, man. Stay out of this. This is what the people voted for. This is what we voted for. Like what he's doing or not, the fact is that the president was elected to run the executive branch of the government. The bureaucracy was not elected, which begs the question, why are some of our friends on the left so mad? What are they so angry about? You got a pundit on MSDNC comparing what Doge is doing to the Afghanistan withdrawal. You can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make this stuff up. It is ridiculous. The comparisons that they come out with it's asinine, to say the least. Check this out. Check it out for yourself. Hold up.
I keep going back to this does remind me of the federal government version of the Afghanistan drawdown. Everyone agreed it was pretty much a bipartisan consensus. We needed to get out of Afghanistan. The way we went about doing it was horrible. We could have done it in a better way. Right now, we agree that there's waste in the federal government and that everyone would like to cut the deficit and cut spending. The way they're going about it, it makes no sense. They need to be more strategic about what they're cutting and where, and have some success, have some early success to show that the mission can continue before you just decimate and hollow out critical areas like nuclear security. I keep going back to.
They grasping for straws, man. They grasping for straws. Everyone would like to cut the deficit. Really? Everybody? So if that's true, if that's really the case, why all the hysteria? Democrats singing songs in protest of what Doge is doing. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, man. If you know that we need to cut the deficit, why are they protesting against it? Why is legacy media fighting against it? Why aren't they on board with it? It's ridiculous, man. Who would have thought that they would create songs to stop government waste? Who would have thought? I guess every week we're going to get a new track out of these people. Last week it was, which side are you on? This This is ridiculous, man. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up, man. Gen X John said it's the new civil rights movement. I guess so. Golly. They're writing songs to keep the government waste going. I'll play it back. Oh my gosh. This is so crazy. These people. I agree with you, Amber Young. These are some of the most annoying people in the country. I don't know if this is like the new age, civil rights movement. It reminds me, now I wasn't born, I wasn't around during this time, but it reminds me of the protests that were going on during the Vietnam War. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of that time frame as far as, the people out here protesting, they're out here singing, but the only difference is this time they're on the wrong side of this issue. That's the problem. They're on the wrong side of the issue. Hey, I think we're going to get a new song from these people every week. On a week-to-week basis, we're going to get a new track, man. They dropped one last week. This is a new one this week. We're going to get another one from them, and we'll talk about it, and we'll laugh at it again on the show. Oh, man. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I do agree. Somebody in the chat said it. The cadence of it was actually decent. I could barely kind of hear the words, but it is foolish. But, yeah, it didn't actually sound that bad. It's just they're on the wrong side of every issue. They're on the wrong side of it, man. I was under the impression that, they saw no problem, at the time with the Afghanistan withdrawal. Where was this smoke for the Biden-Harris administration when the actual Afghanistan withdrawal happened? It was a debacle, to say the least. Where was the smoke? There was none. Now, all of a sudden, you're comparing this situation, cutting government waste and fraud. You're comparing that to the Afghanistan withdrawal, where we lost, 13 service members and left billions upon billions of dollars in equipment, ammo, weapons. We basically gave our enemies, weapons and things of that nature to be able to stand up and fight against us in the future. I mean, we armed our enemies. Shout out to Michael R. Appreciate the $4.99 super chat, brother. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Thank you. I mean, honestly, man, I'm baffled. Really. I am baffled as to how anybody with 2 active brain cells could possibly believe anything that these people say at this point. I mean, it's like they wake up every morning and just throw a dart at the New York Times and say, let's see if this one will work. Let's see if this one sticks. Or maybe they're trolling us. Maybe that's the case. Maybe they don't necessarily believe what they're saying, and they're just trolling the American people. Maybe that's it. For my entire lifetime, everyone has agreed that the federal government is bloated. Deficit spending is really bad, is a really bad thing to do. And the national debt is out of control. People have been talking about this for a long time. But no one has ever decided to do anything about it. No one's ever decided to do anything about it before, and they can't handle it. The left has historically had a hard time handling accountability, owning up to their mistakes. And now, while Doge is out here racking up wins, W's after W's after W's, saving billions, and making the government work for us again, trying to make the government more efficient and more effective, the Democrats, I mean, these people are losing their minds. They're screaming into the void like a bunch of daggone toddlers who just lost their pacifier or their favorite blanket that they walk around and sleep with. I mean, nothing that Trump does is ever good enough for these people. Nothing. I was at the gym this morning and I was talking to, I have a couple of older guys that I talk to on a day-to-day basis. These are older black guys, staunch Democrats. And I had to ask them, I was like, do y'all don't see anything good in this? I mean, dude, they are behind everything. Now, I would put any amount of money on it that if Biden was the one cutting USAID and cutting out a lot of this wasteful spending, they would be 1,000% behind it. But because it's Trump, they're like, nah, we need to keep this going. That we need the money. We don't even know if it's real what they're saying that they're cutting. I was like, so y'all just don't believe anything? They're like, no, until they show us actual proof. They want to see the documents. They want to see the checks. I mean, it's crazy, man. Some people, man, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to them at all. They don't care. In their opinion, every win is a fluke, or it's just not a win at all. Every dollar saved, is a threat to democracy to these people. Or they don't believe that we're actually saving any money. And every problem, in their crumbling blue cities, that's also Trump's fault as well. I mean, these people, the TDS with a lot of these people, it's not healthy. It's an unhealthy way to live, honestly. It is an unhealthy way to live. When you see someone doing the right thing and you can't say, yes, that's the right thing. Could you imagine the type of complex your children would have if that's how you raised your children? You only seen the negative, and every time they did something good, that it wasn't actually good to them, and you told them, that ain't good either. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, I mean, speaking of Democrats, doing what they do best and dodging accountability like it's a hot potato, I want to talk a bit about LA Mayor Karen Bass. She just did an interview. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it, but we're going to check out some clips of it. She did an interview, back in not too long ago. Los Angeles in January, they got hit hard, by catastrophic winds, burning down over 50,000 acres. 50,000 acres was burnt down, killing dozens of people and destroying at least 18,000 homes and structures. And while all of this was happening, where was Mayor Karen Bass? She went out to Ghana. And when asked about it, when asked why she wasn't there when the fire started, let's take a look at it, man. You got to see it for yourself. Let's get into it.
Ghana, which I know you've said was a mistake now. But I just am curious on the thought process behind it.
Right.
Because we know that there was warnings about the weather before you went, and you still went. What was the thought process behind going to Ghana?
So let me just tell you a couple of things. First of all, when the White House called and asked me if I would represent the president, I said yes. It was going to be a very, very short trip, over a weekend and 2 business days. We need...
Who flies to Ghana for a weekend? Do y'all know how long that daggone flight is? Do y'all know how long that flight is? Who flies to Ghana for a weekend? But just because it was a weekend, I guess it doesn't count because it was just a weekend. So over a weekend in 2 business days, so 4 days. But anyway, let's keep going. This situation, it doesn't make sense. Who said it, 17 and a half hours? Who takes a 17 and a half hour flight for a weekend? I mean, that's crazy.
To look at everything about the preparation and all of that for the fires, because I think when we evaluate that, we will find that although there were warnings that I frankly wasn't aware of, although there were warnings, I think our preparation, wasn't what it typically is, meaning that before there's a major weather event, for example, last week when we knew we were going to get into the rains, you saw us come together and us talk about, get your sandbags, bring the K-rails out. That type of preparation didn't happen. If that had, I will tell you, Alex, I wouldn't have even gone to San Diego, let alone leave the country.
But what do you mean there were warnings you weren't aware of? Because I know we were talking about it on the news. A lot of people were talking about the problems, warning that this was going to be a huge deal.
So when I talked about it with the fire chief, what she said is that we have warnings of Santa Ana winds a lot, but predicting this And you saw, from the city, from the county, that level of preparation really didn't happen. So it didn't reach that level to me to say something terrible could happen and maybe you shouldn't have gone on the trip.
Why didn't it
But to
happen?
me, I don't know. I mean, I think that that's one of the things we need to look at. So 2 investigations are taking place. One internal to the city, and that's the Fire Commission, because that's mandated by the city charter. So the commission will hire an outside entity to examine everything, the pre-deployment, why were firefighters sent home, all of that should have taken place that didn't. And then also the governor has contracted with the Fire Safety Research Institute, which is a national institute that investigated what happened in the fires in Maui. So everything that happened, including that, needs to be examined. But I will tell you that I felt absolutely terrible not being here for my city and not being here for my family, who was impacted by the fires as well. And so when I say it was a mistake, absolutely, the idea that I was not present was very painful.
Well, should we give her credit for admitting that she made a mistake? Because that is something that Democrats don't really like to do. They don't like to accept any type of accountability for their faults. But this is just another classic example of Democratic leadership failing spectacularly. Failing spectacularly in front of the world. Y'all say no mercy. Y'all tough, man. Y'all are hardcore, no mercy. And I understand, man, her incompetency between her and the people up under her and Governor Newsom, the incompetency. I mean, it cost people. It cost people hundreds of thousands of dollars. There was lives impacted, businesses impacted. So I get it. While entire communities were burning, homes being destroyed, thousands of residents scrambling for safety, Karen Bass did decide that it would be the perfect time to take a trip out of the country. And I agree with a lot of you guys, man. I don't think that, the constituents of LA will forgive her. At least they shouldn't. Well, I'll take that back. They should forgive her, but not forget. And they should definitely make sure that they get her up out of office when the time comes. They should, but who knows what will happen. I mean, this lady literally flew out of the country on a White House trip, leaving behind a city in crisis. And what makes it even worse, there were clear, repeated warnings about extreme fire conditions before she even left. And she didn't stick around to plan, plot, and strategize. And then when asked about her decision to leave, her excuse was, I wasn't aware of the warnings. Ma'am, you are the mayor of one of the largest cities in the country. How are you not on top of things? This is your job. How are you not aware? The National Weather Service issued a fire weather warning on January 3rd, a full day before she packed her bags and left. I don't think that it was a situation where she wasn't aware. She had this trip planned and she was going no matter what. And then January 6th happened while she was still in Ghana. Another warning was issued. And Karen Bass, she still didn't turn to come back. And fast forward to the 7th, the fires erupt, spreading faster than anyone expected, largely due to a lack of preparation. And where was Karen Bass? Nowhere to be found. I mean, think about this, man. This lady didn't return back to her city until January 8th. An entire 5 days, after she left. And now, when she got back, she refused to take responsibility initially. She spent the entire interview pointing fingers at the fire department and the city's emergency response teams and, literally everyone except for herself. I mean, she claimed that she wasn't properly briefed. And she also suggested that it was the fire chief's fault for not informing her of the seriousness of the situation. When a company, if you own a company, big or small, and you're the owner, you're the CEO of said company, and things go haywire, you are not allowed to throw other people under the bus. You're not allowed to do that. When's the last time you've seen the head coach of an NFL football team get out there and blast his players for mistakes or drop balls or missing assignments? They don't do that. They say, that's me. We got to do a better job of getting these guys prepared. And that's what she should have did. And that right there shows you a lack of leadership. A lack of leadership. Instead of saying, that's on me, she threw other people under the bus and then rolled over them and then back over them. And let's just keep it real for a second, man. If you're the mayor of LA, it's your job to be informed. That's part of the gig. There's no excuse. The entire city knew that there were warnings issued. So you really have to ask, what does that say about her leadership? Now, I don't want to come out here and say, but we're starting to see a trend here of people in these leadership positions that, I'm not even going to say probably, that should not be there. And the worst part about all of this, her office literally posted a public warning on January 6th, acknowledging the dangerous windstorm conditions. So her office reported, but she didn't know about it. How can you claim you didn't know it when your office posted about it? Your office issued warnings. It's ridiculous, man. And the crazy thing is that you guys recall the media in some shape, way, form, or fashion tried to blame Trump for the fires. He wasn't even in office when the fire started. You know what I'm saying? In the first week, in his first week in office, he did what Biden could never do, which is go out and visit the sites where the wildfires raged. And he took his wife with him. But just a few weeks earlier, your favorite MSDNC host or your favorite, press secretary, Jen Psaki, we're still waiting on her to circle back to us. She had the unmitigated gall to blame him. You guys got to see it for yourself, man. These people, the TDS that these people have it's unhealthy, man.
Fires still burning, we are facing important questions about how to mitigate and prevent disasters like this in the future. Fact is, leaders will need to confront a very complicated and challenging reality moving forward. But right now, that is not exactly what is happening. Instead, Donald Trump and his allies are injecting half-truths, misinformation, and flat-out lies in some cases in order to score a version of political points, I suppose. We saw something similar play out just this past October in the aftermath of Hurricanes Helene and Milton, when Trump repeatedly lied about FEMA spending disaster relief funds on migrants, which didn't happen. Also,
okay, so we know today that did happen. It turns out that FEMA did spend disaster relief funds on migrants. But anyway, let's keep going.
Baselessly claiming that the Biden administration was absent and incompetent in delivering aid, despite what elected officials of both parties on the ground said. Those lies were then spread and amplified by the richest man in the world on the social media site that he owns. So I guess none of us should have been shocked this week when Elon Musk posted that the Los Angeles Fire Department prioritized DEI over saving lives and homes. That's an exact quote. That appeared to be a disgusting dig at the city's fire chief, Kristen Crowley, who has served in the department for decades, rising through the ranks to become the first female and LGBTQ fire chief in LA's history. Musk also amplified a post this week from conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. Yes, that guy. He's still around. Alex Jones wrote that Los Angeles fires are part of a larger globalist plot to wage economic warfare and deindustrialize the United States before triggering total collapse. I mean, not sure that guy's okay. Musk responded to that post by writing, "True." Yes, just to repeat here, that's just the richest man in the world and the best friend of the incoming president confirming to his 200 million followers that he thinks the devastating wildfires are a part of a globalist plot. And
like I said, they're on the wrong side of every issue. So as you can see, they are incapable of taking any responsibility for their own actions. And this alternate reality, it's crashing down. It's crashing down on them. Do they come out after, after telling a lie like this? Do they come out and retract it and say, "Oh, my bad, I was wrong"? Nah. These people, they didn't care about the fire. They didn't care about the mismanagement. They didn't care about the incompetence that led to the fires. They only cared that Trump pointed out that the shortcomings of the Democrat Party makes them look bad. That's it. That's all they cared about. And speaking of making them look bad, we got to shift gears one more time, maybe two more times. We got to shift gears to another massive failure in Democratic leadership. One in which Trump stepped in and did fix the mess. And y'all know what I'm talking about. We're talking about New York City. We're talking about this insane congestion pricing scheme that they got going on up there. I don't know how the people up in New York City continue to live up there and continue to deal with this. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But that is a city that I don't even want to visit, more or less live. I just can't do it.
I made the decision to put the congestion pricing program on pause while we devise a different path forward. State law requires that congestion pricing simultaneously raise money for the MTA and drive down traffic congestion. These are important priorities. But I believe that no New Yorker should have to pay a penny more than absolutely necessary to achieve these goals. And $15 was too much. And I'm proud to announce we have found a path to fund the MTA, reduce congestion, and keep millions of dollars in the pockets of our commuters. Under this plan, the MTA will implement a congestion pricing plan with a reduced daytime toll of $9 beginning in January. You heard that correctly. It was $15 before, and now it is $9. That is a 40% reduction. This lower toll will save daily commuters nearly $1,500 annually. And that kind of money makes a big difference for our families.
How do you say something like that with a straight face? So you're going to charge them 15, you dropped it down to 9. You're saying that, hey, that's going to save them money, but they didn't have the bill in the first daggone place. This is crazy. What's going on, Quincy James? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hey, late is better than never. Appreciate you pulling up, man. Thank you very much. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Like I said, super chats will stop the show. Super thanks will definitely stop the show. Appreciate you guys pulling up as always. So Democrats wanted to charge drivers an insane $15 toll just to enter Manhattan below 60th Street. And then Hochul gets up there and grandstands and says that, hey, we're saving you guys some money by reducing it to $9, claiming that she put money back into people's pockets because the original charge was reduced. You can't make this stuff up, man. These people think that we're stupid. They think that the average American is just a dummy. Seriously. And then Trump came in and was like, yeah, about those, about that, we're going to drop that down to $0. talk about savings. But you got to ask yourself, why was this insane policy even a thing in the first place? Well, New York Democrats claimed it would have reduced traffic congestion and helped fund the MTA, which, by the way, is completely broke because of years of mismanagement, wasteful spending, and outright corruption. And who does this congestion pricing hurt the most? It hurts the working class. It hurts middle class. It hurts them. They're struggling to make it anyway. And then you throw, a tax to just drive on the roads with all the other tolls and craziness they got going on up there. The very same people Democrats claim to fight for are the people that they're stealing from, essentially. I mean, they're basically robbing you. But here's where things get even more hilarious. The program wasn't even in place for more than a few weeks before the Trump administration goes in there and shuts it down. Trump's Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, revoked the federal toll authority that allowed New York City to enforce this ridiculous policy. And now, once again, Democrats are having a full-blown meltdown. They are losing it. Hochul's throwing a fit that Trump axed the congestion pricing, saying that it'll result in a budgetary issue. How about canceling $12 billion of your spending on illegals if you're so worried about the daggone budget? That would be a really good start. And what's even funnier is that she was late to her own press conference yesterday on congestion pricing due to traffic. These people are unbelievable, man. I don't understand why, folks up in New York and other places, they keep voting for these types of people, man. It just doesn't make sense.
1:01 p.m. today, the U.S. Department of Transportation emailed us a letter from Secretary Duffy announcing their attempt to end the congestion pricing program in the state of New York. At 1:58 p.m., President Donald Trump tweeted, "Long live the king." I'm here to say New York hasn't labored under a king in over 250 years. We sure as hell are not going to start now.
She tried to sound tough, but it didn't work. It didn't work. So, showing up late to your own press conference because traffic is honestly, is bad is just a chef kiss proof that this was completely unnecessary, because clearly the best way to convince New Yorkers that this plan works is by getting stuck in traffic, the very traffic that you're supposed to be trying to fix with these congestion prices or tax or toll or whatever it is. I mean, it's a brilliant strategy. It really is. And what's even better is that she instituted things without asking the people of New York to vote on it. Now, what do you call that? If you're implementing things and you don't put it on the docket for folks to vote for it, that sounds very close, to some form of, authoritarian rule. You just forced the new tax on the people. Are New Yorkers calling her Queen Hochul now? I mean, taxpayers already paid for the streets. Now they got to tip out to use the same systems that they already paid for. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, this whole congestion pricing scheme, it was a scam from the start. The MTA is nearly $33 billion in debt right now. They need cash fast. And this toll was nothing more than a quick cash grab to cover up for their failure. Their plan was to extort the citizens of New York City to make up for their failures. That's what they were planning to do. They're planning to extort their own citizens who are already paying some of the highest taxes in the daggone country so that they could cover up for their own failure. They claim it was about climate change and quote unquote traffic reduction, but in reality, it was just another regressive tax that would force low-income and middle-class workers to shell out thousands of dollars that they do not have per year just to get to and from work. And think about this, man. Uber and Lyft, they lobbied for this. And why do you think they lobbied for it? Because if driving into Manhattan becomes too expensive, more people will rely on these rideshare services, meaning that they'll make more money. And what'll happen is they'll raise their prices too. Democrats in New York City, they've sold out New York City commuters to help their corporate buddies and to cover up from the waste and the fraud that's going on all throughout that city. And that's exactly why Sean Duffy ended it. But let's check out what he had to say about this.
In a department store, if you're a waiter or a waitress or a bartender, or you're working in a department store, that you got to pay this fee if you want to drive to the city is flat out wrong. I think it's a war on the working class Americans who work in that space, and it's a favor to the rich people. The rich people can pay the toll; it doesn't bother them, and they get the poor people and the middle income people off the roads so they can get in faster. It's flat out, I think, wildly unfair. And again, in government, when you pay for something, you shouldn't have to pay a second time so she can raise money for public transportation.
Yeah, the video, for some reason, I don't know why it's so low, but it's kind of low, but hopefully you guys could hear that a little bit. But yeah, this is crazy, man. Extorting their citizens, man. And you wonder why so many businesses have decided to leave the city of New York. I mean, this was nothing more than just another way for the elites to punish hardworking Americans by making them pay extra just to earn a living while they cruise around in their limousines and, SUVs, blacked out Suburbans and stuff. No one should have to pay that much to get to and from work. This is ridiculous. I mean, this was nothing more than a cash grab for the transit system while crushing small businesses and truckers. And the cherry on top is even the MTA's own internal estimate showed that they still would need to raise taxes to cover the funding gap, even with the congestion pricing in place. So the whole thing, I mean, it was a lie from the start. And Hochul, well, in just complete desperation, she just announced that the cameras used to track congestion pricing violations will remain on. So again, they're doubling down on crazy. They're doubling down on crazy. I hope the people in New York City see this. Do not forget it. Do not forget what they're doing to them. And the same thing goes for out there in California, out there in LA, the same things.
And I also want to say the cameras are staying on.
That's
We are
right.
keeping Last thing I'll say, if in some world that they are successful, the next time you're stuck in traffic, the next time your train is delayed, the next time you're in a flooded station because infrastructure repairs were not made, I want you to think of this. Think about this. Next time you're stuck in traffic. And
I'm just saying, we're seeing a trend here. We're seeing a trend of incompetence. We're seeing a trend here. We're seeing it. I'm not going to call it out today. I've already, I've talked about it a lot. I'm not going to call it out today, but we're seeing a trend here of people in positions of power in this country, and they're showing their incompetence. They're showing their greed. They're showing themselves to be, dictators or, very, authoritarian. There's a trend here. I wonder if New York City is ready to go red. Where is the group up in New York City to flip New York City red like they got down in Chicago? Where is that group at? Who's going to be the first candidate to say that this congestion pricing is going? Who's going to do it? I also thought that, Dems, I thought that they followed the law. I thought that was the case, but what's going on, T.A. Caskey? How you doing, bro? Appreciate you pulling up, man. The Department of Transportation said the congestion pricing tolls run counter to the federal highway program, which bans tolling on roads built with federal funds unless Congress grants an exception. Why can't they just accept that they lost and move on? Why? Why get up there and grandstand? You know you lost. You know you can't do it. So it seems like they're basically going to keep enforcing the toll, whether it's legal or not. I mean, this is the same party that whines about Trump violating norms while they blatantly ignore federal law. And to be honest with you, you got to ask yourself, what is the real argument against Trump shutting this down? They claim traffic is already down. That's what they claim. But, we know that's probably not true. I mean, they basically just made it financially impossible for people to drive into the city. And that's like, setting a building on fire and then bragging that you solved the overcrowding problem. The bottom line is this. This type of stuff right here, this is the reason that Democrats are losing voters. People see right through the lies. They see right through the corruption. They see the hypocrisy. Karen Bass abandons LA in a wildfire crisis and refuses to take responsibility. New York Democrats push a tax on working class commuters and then scream when Trump shuts it down. Democrats don't care about working class Americans, man. They don't care. They only care about power. They care about control. They care about keeping their donors happy. Simple as that. But here's the good news. The more the Democrats push these insane policies, the more the people wake up and walk away from their party. The more they continue to push these insane policies, the more people are waking up and walking away from their party. The more that they stay on the wrong side of the issues that the American people care about, people are going to continue to walk away from them. The more they whine, the more they throw tantrums over Trump, the more they throw tantrums, over Doge, finding the fraud, the waste, doing everything that they can to save taxpayer dollars. If they continue to do that, people are going to continue to walk away from that party. If they continue down this track, if they continue down this road, I think Democrats are looking at landslide defeat come the midterms in 26 and the same thing come 2028. If they continue down this path, because the American people, Americans, we support these cost-cutting measures. We support the transparency. We want to know where the money's going. We want to know where the money is going. Now, Trump gave Doge the green light to go into Fort Knox and see if the gold's missing. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he did. He gave him the green light. Let's check this out. I want you guys to see this. Uh-oh, hold up.
Sir, how is that?
Make sure the volume's good. Hopefully y'all can hear this good.
We're going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there.
Are they gonna
You know that? We're going to go into Fort Knox. Do you know about that?
Sir,
That was a bad bump.
are they going to eliminate more national security positions, civilians there?
We'll see what happens. But one of the things we do want to look, I mean, we hope everything's fine with Fort Knox, but we're going to go to Fort Knox, the fabled Fort Knox, to make sure the gold is there.
Where would the gold have gone? Brought up.
If the gold isn't there, we're going to be very upset. We're going to go into Fort.
Hey, these daggone, these Democrats, they're about to lose their mind. Now, hopefully they live stream it when they go into Fort Knox. I hope that happens. I hope they live stream it or at least go in there and take some footage. Hopefully they don't just walk in there. Hopefully they also go in there, do some sample checking, check a couple bars from here and there, take some bars from different places and check it to make sure that it's real. Hopefully, yes, Zephyr, hopefully it's not gold-plated tungsten. Hopefully it's not that. Do some spot checking here and there. Yeah, so the U.S. gold reserves, they say it's valued at around $425 billion. I mean, it hasn't been audited officially in decades. I mean, I think they said the last time it was audited, I believe it was 1974, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was 1974. We're talking, what is that, 50 years? If not close to 50 years since the last time there was an audit. I mean, that's crazy, man. I mean, there's always been an interest in trying to confirm if it's still there, if it's not, if it's real, if it's not real. I mean, people have been talking about it for a while, but for the life of me, I don't understand. Why hadn't anybody sent anyone down there to say, hey, man, let's go check it out real quick? There should be a mandatory audit of the gold at least every decade, every 10 years. Somebody should go down there, run an audit, do some tests, do some spot tests. I know you're not going to be able to test every daggone gold bar. I mean, that take you forever to do. But you should be able to, maybe pull out, 100 bars, maybe 1,000 bars and spot check them to make sure that it is what it's supposed to be. But I can't wait to see how the media is going to spin this one. Hey, you know that they are the enemy. If when he goes down there and check it, he goes down there and they start screaming at the top of their lungs that they're not supposed to go down there and check that, and they start losing their minds over it. I mean, we already know that they're the enemy. We know that they are the enemy within. We know that they are state-run media. We understand that when it comes to legacy media. We understand who they are. But speaking on the left, screaming into the wind while, Trump's out there saving New Yorkers from toll tyranny. His teams, they're gearing up right now to take down the establishment once and for all with Cash Patel. If everything goes well, the Senate will vote on the motion to invoke cloture on Cash Patel for the FBI, which basically means the debates on his confirmation will end at sometime around 11 a.m. here in a little bit, which means that he could go for a full vote sometime in the afternoon, maybe around, 1:45 or so. So he could get the green light as soon as today. And when he does, it's basically over for these corporate bureaucrats out there, the establishment, the uniparty. It's probably a wrap. So if that happens, if we can get that hearing, man, I definitely, I don't know, I may end up live streaming it. If not, we'll definitely do a video and we'll talk about it today as well. But maybe if I can catch it, maybe we'll do a quick live stream on it and we'll jump on it so we can see the vote, for ourselves, live and in person, man. But hopefully we'll get into all of that and we'll dive into it, man, and discuss it. But, Trump, man, is handling business, man. He is standing on everything that he campaigned on, man. He's standing on it. But yeah, this could be huge news today. So I'm looking forward to hearing it, man. But I appreciate you guys pulling up as always. Appreciate everybody that supported the channel today. What's going on, Sticky Rice 09? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Hope you guys enjoyed the opening, the intro this morning. I wanted to start the day off, with something positive, man. Shout out to Dragon Master Zero gifting 10 ARP family memberships this morning, man. Shout out to you, brother, man. You're such a blessing. I appreciate it, man. Shout out to Carol for the $9.99 super chat. Shout out to Gerard Coswell for the $5 super chat. Gen X Josh Shout out to you, brother, for the $10 super chat. Thank you very much for supporting the channel financially. I appreciate everybody that just pulls up and rocks with us, man. This morning thing, man, is turning into a party in the morning, man. So I appreciate you guys pulling up. Tomorrow will be a call-in show. Tomorrow I will drop the link tomorrow, kind of after I'm doing what I'm doing, and we'll drop the link. We can discuss. You can ask me a question. If you want to just jump on, make a quick statement, I'm good with that. If you want to have your camera on, if you don't want to have your camera on, I'm good with that as well. I appreciate if you disagree with anything that I've said this week or, on tomorrow. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that as well. But I appreciate everybody supporting the channel, man. Make sure you guys hit the like button. We had upwards of 500 people in the building today. So, man, that is such a blessing, man. The morning shows, it seems like it's a success so far. And hopefully I'm looking forward to it continuing to grow, man. And I appreciate you all pulling up and rocking with me for an hour to an hour and a half, Monday through Friday, man. So I'm going to catch up with you all a little later. Keep God first in your life. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with y'all. Peace.